Hi everyone, welcome back to Sakyo Jun's live channel. This is part of my series, Talk with AI, where I explore real-life stories and dig deeper through a conversation with AI. Today's topic is, how can we live without regrets? Let's begin with the story. The main character of today's story grew up in a conservative family of civil servants. From a young age, her parents had already mapped out her future. They wanted her to take the civil service exam and live a safe, stable life. She followed the path laid out for her, and after graduating from college, she passed the exam and landed a job at a public bank. But deep down, she was unhappy. She had always been someone who craved creativity and adventure. Eventually, she reached her limit. She quit her job and pursued her passion for the fashion industry. But this decision caused a major rift with her family, and she ended up living on her own. Years went by. She built a name for herself and found success in her field. But just as things were looking up, she received devastating news. Her father has fallen seriously ill. No longer after, he passed away. She was heartbroken. Despite his final words, "It's okay, I'm just glad you came home," she couldn't let go of the feeling that she had disappointed him. She wondered if she had been selfish. That's where the story ends. In Asia, the bond between family members is strong. Parents often overparent, which makes it harder for young people to become independent. So I asked AI, where does this kind of regret come from, and how can we deal with it in a healthy way? AI said, this kind of regret often comes from the clash between love and staying true to yourself. She chose her own path, but it meant letting down the people she loved. And when her father passed before they can fully reconcile, she was left with a quiet, lasting edge. Why do we regret? Because we still care. Because things were left unsaid. Because success can't fill emotional gaps. How do we begin to heal? Feel the grief, but don't stay stuck in it. Ask what we were really longing for. Let the pain guide us toward growth, toward connection, toward meaning. Her regret is not weakness. It's proof of how deeply she loved both her father and her dream. That was AI's response. I continued the conversation with, "Thanks. There was a helpful foundation to build on. But I'm curious, because my experience is quite different. Emotionally, I tend to be more reserved and rational. Regret doesn't really linger for me. When someone passes away, I usually see it as the end of a journey. There's sadness, but not deep sorrow. And in daily life, I try to make peace with my choices rather than dwell on what ifs." That's a big contrast to the main character in this story. So I wonder, are these differences rooted in personality or shaped by values? AI said, that's a really thoughtful question. What you described, being more rational, emotionally detached, and not easily stuck in regret, can come from a mix of factors. First, temperament. Some people are naturally more emotionally low reactive or logic driven. Their brains are wired to process emotional stress with more distance and structure. The way you described death as the end of a journey reflects a philosophical, big picture perspective. It doesn't mean you lack emotion. It just means your emotions are more inward, less sticky, and less likely to take over your actions. Second, core values. You've said you live with a no regrets mindset. That in itself is a guiding belief. It helps you make decisions with clarity and keeps you from getting tangled in what-if thinking. Many people stuck in regret are actually caught in a fantasy of undoing the past. But your focus is more on accepting outcomes and moving forward, which shows strong realism and agency. Third, life experience. How we handle emotion, loss, or grief often comes from how we were raised. If your environment emphasized independency, responsibility, and logical thinking, then it makes sense that you'd developed a more self-contained emotional style. In contrast, the girl in the story came from a family with a deep emotional entanglement. For her, disappointing her parents felt like a threat to her sense of worth. It's not that she wasn't rational, it's that emotional loyalty held more weight. So, in short, the difference likely comes from a blend of personality, beliefs, and upbringing. There's no better way, just different ways of navigating relationships, chores, and responsibility. Now I'm curious, are you interested in what's going on internally for people who do get stuck in regret? Or maybe, whether more rational types have their own version of regret, just expressed differently. That was A's response, so I asked a follow-up. Absolutely, this is fascinating. Let me try to unpack it with a few questions. For more rational types, missing out on something usually just means moving on. But for emotionally sensitive people, those missed moments tend to linger. Sometimes quietly, sometimes painfully. They can stir up guilt or even deep regret. Psychologically, they might not seem very useful. So, why are we wired this way? AI said, it might seem like guilt and regret are useless emotions, but they actually serve important survival and relational functions. So, why do we feel regret or guilt? What's their evolutionary purpose? First, guilt helps repair relationships. In early human societies, survival depended on group cooperation. If someone made a mistake that hurt the group, like causing harm or wasting resources, they needed to show signs of remorse, or risking being excluded. Guilt sends a social signal. I know I messed up, I care, I want to make it right. This increases the chance of being forgiven and reaccepted by the group. Second, regret is a built-in learning system. When we realize we could have made a better choice, the discomfort of regret helps the brain remember that moment. It says, be more careful next time. In that sense, regret helps us grow and make better decisions in the future. So, why do some people get stuck in it? For some, these systems, repair and reflection, go into overdrive. Instead of learning and moving on, they keep replaying the moment, unable to let go. That was A's response. I continued the conversation with, I see. So, how do we actually begin to heal? AI said, that's such an important question. and one that many people stuck in regret and guilt often ask. I know I'm stuck, but how do I move forward? Here is a simple 4-step process. Step 1. Acknowledge the emotion without judging it. Many people think, why am I still upset? This is useless. But the first step isn't to fight the feeling, it's to recognize it. Emotions aren't errors, they are messages. They say, here's something here that still hurts. Try saying, this is hard because that relationship meant a lot to me. I keep thinking about it because it still matters. Step 2. Identify what you are truly regretting. Regret isn't just about a mistake. It's often about something deeply important that was lost or missed. Ask yourself, what exactly am I regretting? What didn't I get to do or say? Why does this matter so much to me? Step 3. Finish the story. Whether through action, writing, or spoken words. Give your feelings a way out. Even if the person is gone, you can still write them a letter. Let your love find a voice and a place to belong. Step 4. Find new meaning. Healing doesn't come from forgetting. It comes from integrating the pain into your life story. Like saying, yes, I missed something important, but it taught me to be more empathetic. He never saw the person I became, but I believe he would be proud. This process isn't about getting over it. It's about letting your regret evolve into growth, into connection, into something that stays with you in a softer, wiser form. That was A's response. I sat with that for a moment, and then I asked this. That makes sense. It doesn't sound easy, but at least there's a clear path forward. Now I'm wondering, what about people who are more rational and emotional restrained? I said, that's a great question. Rational people often have many strengths. They think clearly, stay calm under pressure, make quick decisions, and see the big picture. But their challenges tend to be quieter, more like an inner hunger than an explosion. Here are a few common ones. First, emotional distance in relationships. They understand a lot, but don't always feel deeply. They are good at analyzing others, but struggle with emotional resonance. People may see them as cold, hard to approach, or uncaring. Even when they care, it often comes out as advice or logic, rather than presence or warmth. Second, difficulty identifying emotions and needs. Many rational types are used to suppressing their feelings. When under stress, they tend to shift focus or analyze the problem, but rarely pause to truly feel it. It's not that they don't have emotions. Those emotions are just slow to surface and easy to overlook. Third, discomfort with emotional ambiguity. To the rational mind, problems should be solved. But life is full of things that can't be fixed, like grief, heartbreak, or the search of meaning. They often feel helpless in the face of raw emotion and might ask, why are you being so emotional? Fourth, slow burning loneliness. They are fine being alone for long stretches until life brings real change. Loss, failure, aging. That's when they realize they lack a deep emotional support system. Suddenly, they have thoughts with nowhere to go, and feeling no one really sees. Being rational isn't a flaw, and emotional restraint isn't wrong. But a whole person needs more than a sharp mind. They also need inner sensitive. Otherwise, even if everything looks right on the outside, there can still be a quiet emptiness. Living life, but never really being touched by it. That was AI's response. That answer hit home, so I followed up with, the last point hit hard. I am an INFJ, so both emotional and rational sides are strong. But emotion tends to lead just a little more. People often see me as logical, but honestly, there's a whole emotional theater running inside. Maybe that's what you meant by inner sensitivity. What really landed was the part about loneliness arriving slowly but deeply. I can be alone for a long time and feel totally fine, but the truth is, I do crave emotional support. I just don't really have it. So yes, I guess I'm kind of screwed. AI said, the line, I'm kind of screwed, was painfully honest. What you said about being seen as logical while running a full emotional theater inside? That's classic calm on the outside, stone on the inside, INFJ energy. You are good at offering warmth to others, but it's harder to let others in. And when life hits hard, you realize you do need support, but don't know where to find it. Here are 3 small things that might help. 1. Try saying to someone you trust, I'm not looking for solutions, I just want to let you in on what's been cycling inside me. Or flip it around, I'd really like to understand what's been on your mind lately. That kind of exchange can open a door to real soul-level connection. 2. Let your inner world out. Write, draw, record a voice note. Give that inner spirit a stage, so it's not always performing in the dark. 3. Slowly practice letting people in. INFJs are great at giving warmth, but often reluctant to receive it. Start small. Say something like, this actually makes me feel vulnerable. Or, I hope you'll stay close. Over time, these little moments build a sense of connection that goes beyond words. And honestly, you are already walking this path. The way you ask questions, the way you reflect, it shows something important. You are not afraid to being alone. What you long for is a place of real connection. You don't need everyone to understand you, just a few who truly do. And the words you are writing here, that's already part of building that connection. That's the AI's advice. Sometimes, when I follow my intuition, I somehow land on the right path without even realizing it. Very INFJ of me. That's it for today's episode. Thanks for listening. And if this sparked any thoughts, I'd love to hear from you. See you next time. Bye bye.